If you are an e-commerce seller and you're trying to make millions of dollars this year, there are a couple of business skills you need to really pay attention to, especially over the long run. Okay, when you start the store, maybe you might get away with not having some skills, but as your store grows, you got to really sort of polish your skill set. Otherwise, you'll be losing a lot of cash. Okay, so the first business skill that makes millions for e-commerce store owners actually is copywriting. You might be thinking, well, copywriting, you don't have to write yourself, right? You can outsource the writing to, let's say, third parties like freelancers on Fiverr or freelancer.com or Upwork.com, right? But copywriting is not just about you having a blog or a landing page. Copywriting has to do with how you communicate with your audience on social media, for instance. So if you're trying to really position your e-commerce store as a very important store, think about copywriting. Copywriting is kind of important because it helps you actually communicate in a persuasive, compelling, and interesting way. Sometimes to sell, if you have an online store, selling has to do with storytelling. You got to be able to tell stories, right? Tell stories around your brain, tell stories around your products, tell stories that resonate with your target audience. The next business skill that could potentially make you millions of dollars has to deal with design. Design is actually great in terms of branding. Design is great in terms of how you position yourself. Everything about the logo, about the colors, about the profile you are trying to really put out there. Okay, it's all about how you position your brand, how you position your products. Also, social media marketing actually is an important skill set to have. Social media marketing can help you actually reach out to your followers on Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, Twitter, not called X, and so on and so forth. It's all about knowing exactly what works and what doesn't work, right? You got to be in a situation where you understand what appeals to your target audience, and especially what kinds of social media platforms they actually hang out at. If you're looking for a business skill that makes millions for e-commerce store owners, I want you to really think about understanding and creating a sales funnel. So sales funnel positioning is going to help you big time, okay? So when I'm speaking about sales funnels, I'm talking about your ability to actually drive traffic from, let's say, a landing page all the way to a sales page, for instance, okay? So now, in order to get better with sales funnels, you first have to understand what they are, right? So a sales funnel is basically the process that you use to take a customer from, let's say, awareness through interest, evaluation, engagement, and finally to purchase. So those 5 steps are important if you are trying to solidify the relationship with your target audience. And you got to be in a situation where you are speaking the kind of you actually are putting forward the kind of storytelling that could appeal to your target audience. Next, relationship building is an important business skill set that you need to have. How do you build relationship? How do you network? How do you cultivate ties that are going to help your business actually make money over time? Relationship building is not just about selling offline. Online, you can build relationships too. You can build relationships. You can cultivate ties that you can really you can leverage later on to actually sell. Okay, so that's really good. So if you want to let's say build relationships, you want to go to e-commerce events, meetups, and conferences. Make sure that you have your business cards with you, because see, the thing is that all the other online sellers, they're not your competitors per se, because there is money for everybody to make. Okay, there's a lot of money for everybody to make. It's just how you position yourself. You got to niche down. Don't try to really sell everything to everybody. You just want to sell some things to certain people. It's all about niching down. Another skill set that could make you millions of dollars if you're an e-commerce seller, actually, this is a critical thinking. Your ability to learn how to dissect the problems that you have, to understand what your audience is looking for, to understand what could potentially solve their pain points. All this is going to help you big time, especially if you are selling products in a very competitive market. Okay, so learn how to say no when necessary. Break down problems into smaller, more manageable pieces. Be open-minded and consider all options and perspectives. And take your time. Actually, take your time when you need to make a big decision. This is going to help you. Another business skill that could make you millions potentially, if you are an e-commerce store owner, it has to do with resilience. So resilience actually is an important skill set to have in business, because when things don't go the way you plan them, and things may not go sometimes the way you plan them, you need to be resilient in the face of setbacks. I mean, you saw what happened during COVID, for example, a couple of years ago. A lot of stores closed shop because they weren't prepared. You got to be prepared, because your e-commerce journey will be full of ups and downs. This is completely normal, so you have to be prepared, okay? You want to accept that setbacks are inevitable in the e-commerce world, and remember that they do not represent personal failure. Because when you think about it, successful people have the same amount of problems. They've simply learned to solve them more effectively. So think about being in a position where you can solve those problems effectively too. Also, the ability to work under pressure is an important business skill that's going to help you actually save a lot of cash, but also make a lot of money. Okay, and this is kind of similar to resilience in the sense that there will be times when you feel like you are under a lot of pressure, whether it's coming from deadlines, supply line issues, or difficult customers. At those moments, you have to really remember that you cannot let your emotions get the better of you. Never. If you do, you will not be able to make decisions effectively. Okay, so you want to learn how to handle pressure so that you can do the best thing for your business at all times. And that's an important element to really think about, especially if you are dealing with multiple setbacks. So think about what you need to do to solve the problem, and take action steps using breathing exercises to deactivate the fight or flight response, and keep stress at a manageable level. And you want to make sure to take breaks and don't try to do everything at once. You'll be really surprised if you take breaks. You'll be really surprised how much resilience you can actually have in the face of adversity. Another business skill that I want to share with you that could really make you millions of dollars if you're an e-commerce store owner has to do with customer first mindset. You saw what happened with Amazon in the last 20 years, how Amazon went from a small platform selling books to a multi-billion dollar platform that it is today, right? And that's because Jeff Bezos from the beginning actually had a customer first mindset. So having a customer first mindset means that you are putting yourself in your customer's shoes and trying to understand what they want and what they need. It's all about understanding the pain points that your customers are having. Okay. And so if your customers, if consumers actually have a positive customer service experience with you, they are going to buy again and again and again, right? So think about, for instance, improving your shipping times, using better packaging, making higher quality products, introducing new products, okay, and also improving customer support, and so on and so forth. It's all about constantly adding value to your offer. Next, you want to think about time management. Time management is a really also a good business skill to really have this year, especially if you are trying to really boost revenue. So basically, one thing for sure, the way you manage time, you can do it manually or you can use an app. You have all kinds of apps to kind of help you. Okay, but one thing for sure, if you're not managing time properly, things can get easily overwhelming. So you can really you want to help your business run more smoothly, so you can complete tasks when they need to be done without constantly playing catch up, right? So that's an important element. Sorry about that. So what you want to do is you want to take breaks and make sure to schedule time for yourself. You got to have time for yourself, okay? You got to have time for yourself. You can also use a time tracking tool for tracking hours at work, like that, just to see where you are spending your time, and that's going to help you big time. Also, if if you're looking for business skills that make millions for e-commerce store owners, think about editing and visual skills. Now, this is the kind of skills you don't need to have yourself. You can outsource it. You don't need to be let's say a graphic designer here. Okay, you have all kinds of platforms taking care of things for you, from 99 designs all the way to Canva, all the way to Fiverr, all the way to freelancer.com. You have a lot of professionals who can really help you. But one thing for sure, basic editing and visual skills will allow you to create better product photos, social media posts, and other marketing materials. So if you think about it, most people, you know, are judging brands based on the quality of their visuals without even realizing it. Something as simple as poor lighting, or let's say a chaotic background, can instantly make a brand look amateur. And you do not want to really look amateur, right? So you want to test out different, as you can see on the screen here, you can see that the picture on the left side looks amateur, while the picture on the right side is totally different, right? So that's what you want. You want to really invest in that kind of quality, in that kind of resilience too. So you want to test out different editing tools and play around with them. Consider taking a class or watching tutorials on YouTube if you have time, or if you have some kind of creative muscle, if you want to improve your creative muscles. And you can hire a professional to teach or mentor you too. So there are many free online resources that can help you to improve your visual skills and touch up your photos before posting. Okay. Next, your ability to understand metrics is actually an important business skill set to actually have, because those analytics are everywhere. I mean, for instance, you can better understand what your customers want and who they are. You can better see whether your efforts are working and where you should focus your efforts. Okay, so that's really good from a flexibility point of view. And metrics can tell you, for example, how many people visited your website, which ad has the best click through rate, and how many sales you made in a day, right? So important website metrics include conversion rate, average order value, customer lifetime value, and also bounce rate. So that's kind of cool from a flexibility point of view. Another business skill set that can make you potentially millions if you are an e-commerce store owner, that's that's your technical knowledge. Okay, so if you think about it, tech is everywhere, especially when it comes to e-commerce, right? An e-commerce business runs on tech. You don't have to be an expert. I'm not asking you to have a PhD in coding or programming, okay? But basic technical knowledge will definitely help you run your business more efficiently. So some things that you should know how to do are upload products to your e-commerce website, install plugins and themes, optimize your website speed, ensure your website is secure, draft effective terms and conditions, and also integrate Google Analytics. Okay, so that's really important. And next, you want to think about search engine optimization. So if you want to really make millions for if you want to make millions in revenue for your e-commerce store, SEO is going to help you, because optimizing your e-commerce website for search engines will both drive more traffic to your site, but also raise your brand's credibility in customers' eyes. So this is actually a must-do activity. So it's worth learning how to do it right. Okay, so that's really important. Next, your ability to read trends and cycles. This is also another important thing to think about. So by staying on top of trends, you will also be able to make important decisions and play more strategically. And you need to have that sort of skills. Okay, Google Trends is the best way to improve your understanding of trends. So a high spike means high search volume on Google, higher demand for the product, and the related queries tool on Google Trends is also a good way to discover what's actually trending. So you always want to follow industry and news outlets and read articles about trends. Use forums like Reddit, Quora, and Hive to see what people are talking about. And you can try tools like Explore Exploding Topics, okay, to learn about what's really trending. So, take long story short, taking advantage of trends and cycles is one of the best ways to stand out from your competition, really. Next, if you are trying to really make millions as an e-commerce store owner, you want to understand the buying behavior because the whole thing is whether you have an e-commerce store or a retail like a brick and mortar store, understanding the buy behavior is going to help you big time. Okay, so don't just focus on the product's features instead of the benefits that it will bring to your customers. Because if you simply shift your perspective from features to benefits, you are going to really make sales big time. Okay, you want to map out your ideal customers' pain points. Think about how you can solve those pain points with your products. So after you have a more clear understanding, focus on you want to focus your advertising, okay, materials on solving those pain points. Okay, so that's an important element. And finally, negotiation. So if you are looking for, let's say, a business skill that can really make millions for you as an e-commerce store owner, negotiation is actually one of the top one. So negotiation actually is a process where two parties try to reach an agreement on a certain issue. And in business, negotiation skills are key because you are trying to really derive value from the opposite party. It's not an opposite, they are partner. Okay, so you'll be negotiating with suppliers, for instance, manufacturers, and even customers. So good negotiation and interpersonal skills will help you to get the best possible deals and improve your company's bottom line. So clear communication and understanding of both parties' needs will help ensure a positive and productive experience. And that's what you want. You want to have a positive and productive experience, and you want to have this across the board. Okay, and you can, for instance, you can invite business coaches to empower your team with these skills, and you want to really make sure that you keep everything professional by signing coaching contracts and having proper invoicing system, for instance. So negotiation is a skill that can be learned, and there are many resources available to help you improve your negotiation skills. So that's really cool. So you want to practice negotiation too, and to make sure that you are actually getting better at it. Okay, this doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to get it overnight, but over time, you are certainly going to make a lot of progress. Okay, that's really important. One thing for sure, if you're trying to look for business skills that make millions for e-commerce store owners, remember that this is actually a moving target. Okay, this economy is changing all the time, and if you have to constantly improve. So in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about business skills that make millions for e-commerce store owners. I share with you the skills from copywriting all the way to SEO. Okay, thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.